Welcome aboard to the Captain Crypto Show. Today, we join the Captain's Council to discuss the latest developments in the world of cryptocurrency. Here's your host, Kylan Hurt.
All right, ladies and gents, welcome back to the Captain Crypto Show. Tonight, it's Monday, November 27th. We're doing our episode of the Captain's Council a little bit earlier this week because we got a conference that we have to head to in Santa Clara tomorrow. Tonight, I am joined by Tay. You might recognize that sexy voice of his.
Oh, nice.
There it is.
Nice.
And then off to my right, I got Brett, a.k.a. Maverick. How's it going, Brett?
Pretty good. Just got a regular voice.
No, it sounds pretty sexy to me.
Fine, sexy?
I'm sorry. I think I might have hurt Brett's feelings over here.
It's okay.
All right.
I'll recover.
All right. For those of you who've been paying attention to the cryptocurrency markets during the last week or so, you may have noticed that Bitcoin, it had its SegWit 2x fork that didn't happen a couple of weeks ago. But since then, instead of stagnating, it's had quite a bit of a rally. I believe at the time of this recording, it is at approximately 9,700 US dollars per Bitcoin, and that's a very significant increase, even just within the last week. So I think that's, as they say, a rising tide lifts all boats, and I think a lot of the altcoins have also been seeing quite a bit of upward movement with regards to their prices. But it does beg the question, and I'm going to leave the altcoins out of this for the moment, but do you guys think that Bitcoin might be in a bubble? Brett, I'll start off with you.
Absolutely fucking not. And I say that because bubble is usually used as a pejorative,
right,
to indicate that something is grossly overpriced, overhyped, and that there's not a lot of fundamental room to grow. And if you look, for those that dive deep into the numbers, if you look at the total market cap of gold, of a lot of different financial products out there, a lot of different financial markets, they're massive. The cryptocurrency market is extremely small. And if you think about the reach of Bitcoin, which is truly global, and the demand for the potential customer base is about 7 billion people. And let's say each of them have a few bucks, and there's more and more on-ramps, on-roads to get into the ecosystem. And my thesis going into this back in 2015 was, the sky's the limit. The technology works. It just has to keep working, and it will keep working, and it'll keep getting better. More on-roads, more on-ramps will be built. Now, in the media sense of a bubble, right, in the next week or their time perspective, maybe because they're chasing clicks and ratings and whatnot, yeah, it might pull back. But if you have a detention span and a holding period of longer than a couple months, right, this is not a bubble. You haven't even seen what can happen when this thing truly gets going, because we haven't even seen Wall Street money get in. So, Tay and I were talking before this podcast about a Bloomberg episode, or I should say some talking heads talking about Bloomberg, and they were saying how this is the reverse of how most bubbles have started, where they start on Wall Street and they kind of percolate outwards, where Bitcoin has started globally and percolated up to Wall Street, where it's gotten to a point where they can't ignore it. Right. So we haven't even seen big money. This has all been small money coming in, and the big money hasn't even come in yet. So for me, calling this a bubble, it's not.
Those are some pretty strong words from Maverick. What do you think, Tay?
Yeah, I kind of agree. For a lot of people, their definition of a bubble is skewed. So, yeah, they're going to see 10,000, and who knows, it might correct. Who knows how far it could go down. But, I mean, Bitcoin at one point was $10, and
yep,
that was a big peak back then. And then
that was a bubble.
Yeah, and then it dropped to $1. Oh, my God. And then it went to 30, and then it dropped to 10. So, and this was all before I actually got in, but supposedly the day I heard about it at $13, that was a peak. And then it kept going up. I think 6 months later it was at 100, something like that. So
maybe we can call it bubbly.
Oh yeah,
bubbly.
Bitcoin is bubbly. It's not a bubble. It's
more
bubbly.
Like, it's more like bubble gum. You know how you blow one bubble and you blow another?
Yeah.
It's...
And I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I see Bitcoin as like an organism or a species, right? And it's kind of hitting puberty.
Right.
Right. You get in the male sense, you get a lot of testosterone, right?
Hair on the balls.
Yeah, you're. Yeah, and it's really hitting, it's still kind of awkward and people don't really understand it, but it has a lot of potential. And there's some people out there that see this teenager out there and they're like, that's the next LeBron James, right? Or that's the next asset.
Speaking of that, I remember when LeBron James was in high school.
Everyone could, if you knew anything about basketball,
how do I invest in him?
No, they actually...
They did invest in him.
Yeah,
Nike gave him $50 million before he came out. Sorry. I got to lower my voice. I'm getting excited.
They gave him a yellow Hummer.
Yes, they did.
And then...
And a shoe contract.
It was on the news, and they were like, what are they doing giving this kid a Hummer? And it was like, I remember somebody asked me about it, and I was like,
well, pocket change for him now.
No, but I remember saying at the time when he was still in high school, what if he's actually good? Are you going to come back and say, okay, it was worth it?
Exponentially more than a Hummer, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I want to add on again, we're seeing all these finance types coming on and talking about bubble this, bubble that, and they're always talking about percentages as if that's the only metric to measure this by. And these they're kind of treating it as a linear type phenomenon. They're used to like a company having a stock and it, the earnings are pretty, pretty predictable and they go up, in a linear type fashion. We're dealing with something that's exponential, right? And it's a new species. And a lot of these finance guys, it's just like, well, the chart, it's going up 900%. Yeah, but have you really dug into the fundamentals? And the fundamentals basically say there's 7 billion people that could potentially be a customer.
Right.
We have the market cap of the entire cryptocurrency space is 300 billion. I mean, just gold by itself is a $7 trillion market. And then you add on to that, all the national currencies in the world and then, derivative products and whatnot. You're in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. So this is, if people think this is a bubble, they haven't seen. It's just beginning.
Yeah, for me, one thing that has always been a little bit of a struggle when it comes to trying to estimate where the price should and shouldn't be and whether things are in a bubble or whether there will be a market correction coming up is, does the recent growth, how would I say it, does it reflect some sort of technological developments with regards to the cryptocurrency? Because if actual adoption of Bitcoin has not gone up double in the last month or so, and if there are not that many technological developments that have improve the actual functionality of the coin, then at that point, that's when I start to think, okay, maybe there is some sort of market correction coming. But I would agree with you guys that if there's a market correction, it'll probably be short-lived. And it seems like as time goes on, Bitcoin, when it has its price pullbacks, it usually, as it gets bigger, the pullbacks seem to be less and less, if that makes sense. So as long as you're not one of those weak-handed fools that sells on the dip, as long as you just hold on, usually a few months later you'll be fine, right? Yeah. And then it'll be back to business as usual.
It's going to be louder now, though, especially after 10K. I feel like that's a big step.
Yeah, it's a really big step.
And we got institutional investors coming in, so I feel like we're getting into a different league.
Yes.
But everybody who's been in at this point will probably be okay, even after the next major correction, just holding out for a little bit. It's going to be, the hardest part is going to be for all the new people that are coming in after this holiday season. The hardest part is going to be just getting that emotional control set in place because they haven't seen anything like this before.
Yep.
How much of this price increase within the last month or two do you think is related specifically to traditional money starting to not integrate, but starting to, I guess, grab a hold of cryptocurrency in general? Like I know we have that CME sort of, offerings. I don't know what you call it. They have investment tools that they're going to be offering, right? Yeah. That are going to be, I believe they'll be able to be used within a couple of weeks or so. So I think maybe some of the ramp up might be related to that. And maybe we'll look back on this in a couple of months and Bitcoin will be at 30,000. We'll laugh about how we thought.
Ooh, 30,000? That's a car right there.
Yeah, exactly. One Bitcoin. I will say as time goes on, one Bitcoin, holding on, trying to make sure you have one Bitcoin in your holding is starting to become more and more difficult as time goes on. In the past, I've usually been like, oh, well, I'd like to have at least one Bitcoin. Because when you talk about to people, they say, oh, do you have Bitcoin? Do you have a Bitcoin? Right. And as time goes on, first of all, I don't think it's the best investment, at least in relation to other cryptocurrencies. So if you don't think it's that good of an investment, then why hold money in it? But it is becoming more and more difficult to chase after it. I mean, it's at the point where for a lot of people, it's going up in price faster than the salary they make, right?
Right.
That's essentially the point we're at now.
Yeah, like I want to jump on top of what Tay was saying. People have to get used to volatility because let's just say the Federal Reserve is kind of there, and most people use money that are products or central banks, and they're there to kind of stamp out volatility and make it seem like life is a lot more stable than it is.
Right.
And the way they end up doing that is depreciating the value of that. But they just do it in a stable way. Cryptocurrencies open you up to the reality of the world, and the reality of the world is shit changes quickly all the time.
Yeah, you're used to swimming in a pool, but now you're in the ocean.
Yes, right, and an ocean of possibilities. Before the pool, there's not a lot of possibilities in the pool, but there's no volatility, right? There's nothing that is going to be unexpected.
No.
The ocean is full of
sharks, waves,
full of resources, good and bad.
Yes.
You can get in a lot of trouble going into crypto world if you don't understand, where you're going or what you're doing.
Right.
And that's why, I always tell people start off with Bitcoin, dip your toes in. You never want to just go all in. People say, don't go all crypto right away.
Right.
Something called dollar cost averaging your way in, which basically means, if you have $1,000 in savings, put $50 in 1 week, then the $50 next week. And the key to that is while you're doing that, learn about Bitcoin, why it exists, how it works, and you don't need to go. You can find out for yourself how deep you want to go, and you can go. It's endless, but you need to get a good grip on that, and then you can kind of venture out into the greater ocean of altcoins and ICOs and shitcoins and pump and dumps.
Yeah, I guess one thing I will say is that since, first of all, everything in the space moves so quickly anyway. I mean, the money itself moves quickly. It's digital, right? It's computers. You're talking about automation, things moving essentially at the speed of light. And then also so much of the price is related to perception. And with social media and all that sort of stuff, perception is something that can change in literally less than a minute. You can have something go from, let's say, $100 down to $5 within 10, 15 minutes. That's not unheard of. So that's just kind of the world we're living in. And yeah, as long as you have, I guess, a thick, what's the term I'm looking for? Thick skin, then you'll be fine. So one thing that I was curious too, and we were having this discussion a little bit, I know Brett was part of it today here at Edge. We kind of were thinking, okay, in the traditional financial system, actually in the traditional economy, we've seen when there are stable periods of growth, you're usually talking about less than 10% per year in general, like let's say GDP, for example. So once we get past this first kind of honeymoon phase of cryptocurrency, assuming we get past it at some point, but you imagine it can't be 10x every year, right? Eventually we'll reach a point where there's more like stable growth. And I guess the question is not necessarily how far away is that, because that's probably really hard to figure out, but what kind of long-term percentage per year growth do you think is reasonable? Because I know a lot of people they're thinking to themselves, I got to get into cryptocurrency while it's still early. And the more I think about it, even if you don't get in early, if you get in maybe 4 or 5 years from now, there's probably still a good chance that the space in general might still be growing, let's say, more than 50% per year, maybe even doubling every year. And that might be sustainable.
Where will we be at if that happens?
Oh, I mean, we'll be wearing crowns in mansions, driving multiple Lamborghinis.
Yeah, the thing that helped that perspective is privilege is a word that's been thrown around a lot the last couple of years, and a lot of that is racially attributed. But everyone in the Western world is extremely privileged, no matter who you are and how low you are in the hierarchy of Western democracies. Yep. You are extremely privileged. And like I said before, the potential customer base is 7 billion people. And there's people that still are not literate. They don't have access to clean water. They don't have access to food. They are not safe. They don't even think about the future, let alone what money is or what it could be. So this is just the beginning. If you think it's late,
You're wrong.
You haven't dived deep enough into how the world works, why Bitcoin was created, and why the people that there are multimillionaires and billionaires that are still working really hard on making a new financial system, and they're not cashing out anytime soon because they know this is larger than money.
I mean, when in history has teenagers
Oh my God.
made millions in just a few years with their allowance?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of these kids that are like less than 16 years old and they're already buying hundreds of dollars of cryptocurrency. I'm just thinking to myself, gosh, even if it only doubled per year, by the time they're my age, they'll be billionaires.
I mean, and just them buying it, they have access to just volumes of resources on how to build applications
and money in general.
Economic theory, monetary theory, incentives, cryptography, distributed systems, right? So this is like I just get my hair stands up on the back of my neck just thinking about.
You get aroused.
Yeah, sexually, morally, emotionally.
I just remembered last year my buddy was telling me, because he knows I'm into crypto, he was saying, well, one of his clients, it's a rich guy, his son was mining crypto. So he was actually,
How old was he, you think?
I think his son probably was like not even a full teenager yet. I think he's probably like 12, between 10 and 12. And this kid, he's from a wealthy family anyway, but his dad just like, oh yeah, he wants to do this mining crypto thing, blah, like it was a little project or something.
Is his dad into it at all?
No,
or it's just,
no.
Wow.
He didn't really know what he was doing, but he
How old
called
is
it
this
out. I think like 12. Damn. So this kid, like, think about it now. If he mined anything, which is either Bitcoin, Ethereum,
anything basically at this point,
or Litecoin, one of those three, he has come up. If he is on the path, and
The electric bill is going to his parents.
well, yeah, he said, it didn't matter. Like, I think they got solar and all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay. So they're
good.
well off.
Yeah, they're well off. But in a few years, he might be giving his dad a run for his money, no matter what he's doing.
Can you imagine how rebellious a teenager will be when they're 16 and have hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's got to be hard to deal with.
Actually, I think it might even make you more serious, because it's like you realize now, like, okay, like people do actually want to.
Like you're around it, he's like, yeah, bullshit, I am.
I think that goes on a larger point that we're talking, and all three of us are very bullish on price and stuff like that.
I thought you were going to say handsome.
That's a given.
What is going on with you today, man? Come on.
I'm just in a not so serious mood.
Yeah, but I'm definitely not a utopian. So I do not think Bitcoin and any of these cryptocurrencies will solve the larger human issues that we have, right? Like as in just ego.
We're still apes.
We're still monkeys.
Yeah.
There's still going to be, and it's a tool, so anybody can use it, right? So this is one of the things that might make people uncomfortable. And it makes me uncomfortable that something, an organization like ISIS can definitely use this and will use it, right? So I still think people do need to be vigilant on that, just because, I don't think it's in a bubble, and I think this thing is a great thing overall. I don't think it'll change everything, and it won't necessarily just make life tulips and unicorns, right? Bad people and good people are going to make a lot of money on this, and it's still up to good people to continue to build systems to make it really expensive to be bad. Right. So that's still in the cards.
As long as I got me a bad chick and a bad car, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's going to be a lot of teenagers that have a lot of money and do stupid shit with it, and there's going to be a lot of teenagers that are really, really smart, really dedicated, and have a lot of integrity, and really
they'll
do
have a head
something
start.
special. Really do something special.
Yeah, you think people can be productive now when they, get their degree and start writing applications, and then they're in their 20s getting stuff done. And just imagine if so many more of them are starting being productive when they're in their teens.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's definitely a good thing that teenagers and younger people are getting into this. Okay, so one of the questions that I get asked especially by people who are new to cryptocurrency is, okay, so you're talking about buying these tokens or those tokens or this crypto or that. And usually they want to know, okay, where do I go to buy it? And I have covered it a little bit, but I was kind of curious about getting your guys' opinions on maybe which exchanges do you use, whether it's fiat, like the interface between fiat and cryptocurrency or from one type of cryptocurrency to another. So I guess I'll start off with Tay. Would you have like maybe ones that you are that are your personal favorites that you use more often than others, and if so, maybe for what reasons?
Yeah, I really like GDAX. Obviously, they're limited.
It's just Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin, right?
Correct, right now. And they're part of Coinbase, so it's an easy tie-in. If you want to shift coins around and don't get a fee, you can just push it instantly from Coinbase to GDAX. If you want to sell your Litecoin for Bitcoin, do it right there, set a limit, no fee, and then come back in to your Coinbase with Bitcoin. And then if you have a shift account, you spend that right there. So It's an easy way with no fees, and you can set your rate so you can grow your money how you want that way. That's one good thing about it. Also setting the limits.
Right. So there's definitely more functionality, right, compared to the normal Coinbase exchange.
Exactly.
So can you pull out like temporarily into US dollars or anything like that?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. You can hold dollars there. Now I don't know. You can't spend it from there.
Right. You would have to put it back into Coinbase from GDAX.
And that only takes a second.
That's still useful, isn't it?
Very useful. So like you can have dollars sitting there for a month straight, and if the price on whatever coin doesn't get to where you want, you're like, all right, I'm going to spend this $100 or whatever, kick it over to your Coinbase. It'll be there instantly. And then from Coinbase, if you did that, I think from Coinbase to your bank account will still take 3 days. So if you wanted to go from dollars to your account, your actual bank account, it'd take a few days. But if you wanted to spend Bitcoin with Shift, I think you can link. Actually, I don't know if you can link the dollar account to your Shift card.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know about the dollar account, but I definitely use Shift with my Coinbase account and my Bitcoin, and I absolutely love it. Because essentially it's like your Bitcoin can be used anywhere that has the Visa logo, which is pretty much everywhere. So I definitely find that useful. And the good thing is, like you said, if you can pull out into dollars temporarily, even if it's not into a bank account, if it's just on GDAX, that at least you have that, especially with the recent scares with the Tether tokens.
Right, you got that
So
stability.
having something like that's not an actual Tether token, it's more like Coinbase saying, hey, that you got dollars here.
Right.
So I could definitely see that being useful.
Yep.
So that's fiat to crypto exchange. Then I guess we'll
I
continue
use other
with you.
exchanges too.
I'll continue with you. Well, okay, for like cryptocurrency to other cryptocurrencies, like let's say you're trading from Bitcoin to Omisego or Stellar or something like that.
Bittrex is the major one. I guess Kraken, you can do it too.
Right.
Definitely.
But Kraken is I don't know, their user interface needs some work.
They don't really care about that. They have multiple currency pairs with lots of different cryptocurrencies, and they've been in the space a while. It's for people that really don't care about the nice user interface at all.
It's not that you just
Is it
don't
still
care.
reliable though?
Yes, it seems to be reliable, but
100%.
it's hard to look at. Like, so if it's hard to look at, you don't want to use it compared to like.
I understand that, but
Bittrex.
I'm saying hardcore crypto users and a lot of people that are, let's call them anti-normies, kind of like user interfaces that suck because it keeps away.
Like it's Spartan.
Yeah, I like good user interfaces, right?
Yeah.
I'm a human being. I like bright colors and flashy stuff, but a lot of hardcore users, and there's definitely a class of people that don't really appreciate aesthetics that much at all, right? They're just there for the functionality. They've been there for a while.
That's different.
They have a relationship with Kraken, and they have lots of different trading pairs on there. So, and I know Kraken's been expanding. They bought one of our partners, Glidera.
Okay.
And I opened an account with them, but I didn't trade because I didn't like the user interface, right? Like, because I want to see some nice colors and easy stuff to move, easy buttons to push.
Their mobile app sucks too.
Who is that? That's Kraken or
Kraken.
Kraken.
I didn't even know they had a mobile app.
Yeah.
Are they pretty good? Like, do they offer how many altcoins do you think they offer?
Maybe 20.
Okay, so that's
Something
okay.
like that.
Not as much as like Bittrex
Bittrex
or
is like in
Poloniex.
100. Well, Poloniex, they were good until they started stalling people a while back.
Yeah.
So I guess they still work, but they were taking a while to let people withdraw, and they had some issues going on back over the summer. And most people I know.
Murmurs,
Yeah.
a lot of murmurs.
I actually had issues with them where I was trying to pull out Litecoin or something, and it took like 36 hours, and I'm just thinking to myself, it does not take 36 hours for Litecoin to get withdrawn. So once you're like 12 hours into it, you're like, shit, am I actually going to even get this money?
Right.
Like if I email customer support, is there even anyone there? Because a lot of times there's not.
Well, and this discussion highlights how great the cryptocurrency space is, because you're complaining about 24, 36 hours, like where the hell's my money?
Right.
And, traditional financial services, I mean,
Yeah,
You're talking days.
You sell a stock right
couple
now.
business days. It's going to be a couple business days. Crypto,
3.
you're sweating if it's, because it's a new territory, Wild West. You're sweating if it takes longer than, 10 minutes.
Yep. Binance is another one.
Yeah, I think you're the one that was talking about Binance.
Yeah.
Where is Binance located?
I just started using them. They're the ones that's based in like Japan or something,
Korea,
right? Or Korea,
I believe,
excuse me. Yeah, I like their user interface. I love it. But I only started using them earlier this week. And I like it so far, but it's
Good
not
mobile app too.
The idea of trading cryptocurrency on a mobile app scares me. That's
Nope.
probably something I would not do.
I like that. I like having that
On the
that
go.
option because
Taser risk taker.
you get out of your, things are moving. You can't be stuck at your computer screen all day, but you can still make moves, and it's clear on your mobile phone if you got a big enough screen.
Who do you use on your mobile phone? Is it GDAX? They have their
GDAX has a web page,
but they don't have an app.
No, but it's usable. Their web page, mobile web page is
Like on your
usable.
like a Chrome browser, Safari.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What do you have, like a actual app where you can use where you can trade?
So no, with
Okay,
with
all on
GDAX,
desktop.
yes, just
Okay.
on it's either desktop or the mobile web, which is decent enough. And then for Binance, they actually have an app that is. I haven't done a lot with Binance. I just started using them a little while ago just to take a look at their exchange, and they look pretty usable even on the mobile. I think I might even like at least their Android app. I think I might even like it better than the web page on.
And have
on a
either of you
laptop.
used Shapeshift?
Yeah, I've used it.
What did you
used
think?
I think it's simple and maybe good for beginners, but you don't
You
really
don't need them.
You don't need what?
You don't need them. Is that what you're saying?
Don't need who?
Shapeshift?
Need what?
Shapeshift. Yeah. You use yours.
Oh no. I mean, well, the thing is, they kind of obfuscate the what would you call it? Like the prices. Like you have to kind of, if you're trying to figure out what the exchange rate is, they don't always show you.
Yeah,
like,
I don't like that.
Especially with, I think it's the quick option. They don't really show you. And in that case, I feel like a couple times I've done trades and ended up with a lot less than I would have thought. And I think maybe you're trading in that usability for for a better price, right? You're kind of giving up a better price. And for me, that's maybe just a little bit too much for me. Plus, you had you have to send it by 10 minutes. So now all of a sudden, I have to hope that my Bitcoin gets through within 10 minutes, which that's like rolling the dice these days.
Yeah, and I would want to add that I tell people, even I don't recommend for people to trade, but I do recommend for people to open up an account on like Bittrex or Poloniex just to see
what it looks like.
Just to see what these markets are. Look, they're alive.
And
I would
what's
say-
possible, yeah.
I would say the Bittrex and all of them, they're good for if you want to grab some alts and everything, do some slight trading there.
Dip your toes in.
Right. But to actually get a view of what trading actually looks like, GDAX is much better. Their visualizations are live.
Yeah.
It
I'm just
flows
saying
better.
any of those markets. So because people think Bitcoin is just like something that's out there. They don't really. There's like a whole ecosystem, and it's like. They get into this whole. You just see that there's a whole new world out there that's alive 24/7. People are talking shit in the troll box.
I mean,
you see orders in real time. People putting real money on the line.
I still
it's just
feel like
interesting to watch.
it's weird because I almost feel like there's two mindsets on that. Like there's the alts. The alts, you have to be into Bittrex or something else. GDAX is the major three right now, so I wouldn't consider that alts, but to see to get a concept of the flow of how things
I got you.
are
Yeah.
always moving,
Yeah.
their user interface is like watching water almost. It's always moving.
Coinbase is, and I've said that they're not a favorite company of the people that have been in Bitcoin a while, but they are the best company in terms of just overall. To me, they're
Onboarding
like
new
a
people.
they're like a Goldman Sachs and Facebook had a baby.
Yep.
That's the kind of talent they have in terms of setting up things for everyday users to come on and onboard quickly and have a good experience.
Yep.
But they a lot of people describe exchanges as sitting ducks, right? And everyone, that's the real danger. And a lot of, long-term Bitcoin people don't like these exchanges and see them as sitting ducks, right? Like if you've followed the news over the last couple of years, everyone is vulnerable to getting hacked, right? Yep. And then when data is money, I mean, you're a sitting duck. Yeah. People are trying to get into that honeypot of money, and once you steal that money, it's literally money. You don't have to sell it on the darknet. It's already in money form. Yeah, you don't just have someone's social security number. You've got their Bitcoin, right? And you can move it all over the world instantaneously.
Do you feel like the exchanges are getting better when it comes to security?
100%.
I mean, they are getting better, but we're seeing hacks less often, it seems like. At least major hacks on exchanges.
Smaller.
I think of it like an airplane where every crash,
it gets better.
The security gets better, right? Because
when you're
securing people's money, you can't fuck up. Right?
And people are getting better at their
own security and holding these
hardware wallets.
Yeah, we didn't
holding
even
them
have
accountable.
hardware wallets a few years ago. Yeah. I don't think.
Like I'm sure Coinbase they get killed every day about being an exchange and don't leave things on Coinbase.
Right.
People on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that. So they're always getting slammed by the Bitcoin community just for existing in the first place. And they've never been hacked. So if you look at the past, and if that's indicative of the future, Coinbase has done a pretty good job. But I don't think that's the future. They are a bridge, kind of like they're what's that bridge? The Bering
Strait.
Bering Strait. What's that bridge that connected the Asian continent to the North America?
Right.
It existed at one time, allowed people to move over to the North American plain, and then kind of went away.
Oh, you mean over there in Alaska?
Alaska.
Yeah. That's what I kind of seen it as, like, it's a very necessary bridge, but the point of Bitcoin ultimately is be your own bank, be your own person, and control your own money, right? And no one else needs to be.
There has to be
handling it for you.
There has to be a on ramp.
100%.
They're an excellent on ramp.
They're crucial.
They're
right now, like the best Bitcoin statistics you can probably get are from, like in terms of what you're seeing with adoption. You're seeing like over the last couple. I don't know what the exact metrics are, but like Coinbase is signing up. 100,000 accounts,
300,000 this weekend.
This past weekend over Thanksgiving, right? So
yeah.
obviously families got together. They're talking.
They listened to the advice that we gave last week. We're like, here's how to talk to your...
One thing they did, Brian Armstrong, he put out a tweet that actually I didn't even know about.
Who's Brian Armstrong?
He's the CEO of Coinbase.
Ah, okay.
He put out a tweet and saying like, don't forget, you can always, if you're talking to your family about crypto, you can always just email them $5 worth from your Coinbase account and the link will set them up. Automatically.
That's cool. I don't know. I guess you were saying that they've had that for a while. I didn't know about it, but that's
I didn't know about it until this weekend.
That's great. You could meet someone if they're a friend and they're at a bar. You say, all right, just give me $20 and I'll send you $20 of Bitcoin. And they could just hand you a 20 and you could send them the $20 of Bitcoin. They don't give them some sort of instructions, I would think, right?
So I sent one of my buddy
how to claim it,
and simply because he didn't buy any, but I've been telling him about Bitcoin. I told him about Bitcoin last year. And every so often, he kicks me back some news about Bitcoin. He's like, oh, Tay, you was right, blah, blah, and all this. So he's actually one of the few that didn't buy but's been paying attention.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, let me at least hook him up like that. Even though this $5 a day could, by next year be, $50
or something.
Yeah.
Oh, and adding on to Coinbase being really probably the most important company in the space, and the whole talk of is it a bubble, is it not a bubble? Coinbase just came out, and this isn't like a technological improvement at all, but they came out with a product called Coinbase Custody. And to cut to the chase, all that has to do with is setting up a service and product for institutional investors. And when I say institutional investors, that means big money, right? People that manage billions of dollars. And the reason a lot of them don't have Bitcoin has nothing to do with they don't like Bitcoin or they don't believe in Bitcoin, but just the legal implications, who holds it, what are the, what's the processes that that go with holding it, who signs off on when things are sent, how are they sent, all the, devils in the details kind of stuff. Coinbase has set that up. And we're just seeing, there's a huge wall on this, of money or behind this wall, and Coinbase and other institutions like that are setting up services where
It's starting to open the door.
Large hedge fund, large asset managers can park a position in Bitcoin, right? And that's, talk about bubble. It's just getting started.
Yeah. Definitely, if they're out there saying, hey, we know how to keep your cryptocurrency safe, and they're targeting people who have billions upon billions of dollars, they must be doing their due diligence over there. They must feel very confident.
Coinbase is very connected and very smart. Like we said, this very important company doing great work. They're not necessarily innovating technology, but they're putting all the pieces together, right? A lot of the technology is being done, underground by cypherpunks, right? Working on the protocol. They're kind of tying all the legal relationships, check the box regulation, UI for the normal average person, right. Marketing, stuff like that. So they're really tying everything together and making this thing really legitimate in the eyes of people that don't really care about the ideals or the vision. They just are looking to make money.
For those of ye out there enjoying the show, your captain would love to get some feedback on how best to improve it. You can find me on Twitter as Captain Crypto HD, and on most of the high seas of social media as either Captain Crypto or Captain Crypto Show. Just be on the lookout for my logo. Also, be aware that due to the technical aspects of each platform, that my podcast feed will always have the most up-to-date and latest revisions of each episode. So if you're enjoying this episode, feel free to give your old captain a review on iTunes and share this episode with the rest of your crew. Now, back to the show.
Well, it's late November and the holiday season is soon coming up, so I'll be perfectly honest. A year ago, I did not plan or actually purchase any cryptocurrency related presents for any of my family members, and that's changed this year. There are a few presents that I have that I'll be giving to family, friends, or whatever sorts of loved ones. So I was kind of curious if you guys have at least considered or actually purchased any sort of cryptocurrency related gifts for your loved ones. I guess I'll start off with Tay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the whole Coinbase email method, giving like maybe $25 to the kids, $5 to the adults, just because just you knowing about this and having an account is enough of a present. And if this thing continues, if it did what it did this year, in the next 3 years, you'll be thanking me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things where I've thought about just in general, especially like you said, for young kids, because they're probably unlikely to really touch it for a long time. So like you said, you can put in a little bit and gosh, who knows, a few years from now it could be worth quite a lot, right?
Exactly.
What about you, Brett? Have you?
Yeah, I'm definitely getting a few things for friends and family and girlfriend. Ugly Christmas sweaters.
And coworkers, right?
And coworkers. Just not Kylan.
Yeah.
Ugly Christmas sweaters with different currency.
Go on.
Bitcoin,
have you actually purchased it yet? Or
I haven't, but I've been eyeing it. Some hardware wallets.
I think hardware wallets is a very good one.
And the couple books, or I should say one on Andreas Antonopoulos' Internet of Money.
Yep.
I think that's a great little starter for people to kind of get the high level, okay, this is what's going on.
Even the audiobook too.
Yeah, just something like that. Those are like the three things that and I'll help out. I'll help out relatives setting up wallets.
Yeah, and that's just as useful as anything, right? It might not be something you can hold in your hand, but definitely getting them set up. That is the biggest barrier, right? Is getting someone to actually take the time to do it. My grandfather actually asked me this at Thanksgiving. He's like, "Oh, can you kind of set me up with this Bitcoin thing?" Like, I was like, "Dude, give me a call. Like, you got my phone number, and I'll walk you through it." And like, he's like, "Yeah, I'll put in like $500." I was like, "Yeah, boy."
Well, have you guys done it yet, or you waiting
no,
to do it?
I'm waiting for him to call me, but maybe I'll have to bug him or
So you gonna keep him conservative, or you gonna put him into some alts?
balls to the wall.
Oh dang!
No,
I like how it's already Bitcoin is considered conservative.
Oh yeah,
right.
It
Because
is.
if you're in the trading world,
If you're us,
it is
yeah.
conservative, right? Because
Yep.
you got all these other.
For sure, I'm not going to put it all in Bitcoin. I'm going to tell them to like split it. I'll probably just start off with Coinbase, right? Because that's the easiest. So probably maybe a third Litecoin, a third Ethereum, a third Bitcoin, something like that.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, I am a little bit worried that Bitcoin will pull back a little bit. And if you have someone that's just immediately getting into it, if Bitcoin immediately goes down by 33% or something over the course of the week, then you don't want that to be their first experience, right?
You look like a jackass.
Yeah, you disappear until that era's over. And then in a couple months when it's doubled, then you're like, oh, hey, by the way, how's that Bitcoin
how's it
doing?
doing?
As if you don't know the price.
Who's your favorite grandson?
I think, Brett, you are right. Hardware wallets is an excellent one because for the family and friends who are involved, a lot of them don't know how to secure their cryptocurrency very well. So a gift like that it'll help protect them, which is ultimately, that's kind of the best type of gift you can give anyone, whether it's financial or otherwise. And it is funny, you did mention the ugly sweaters. There may be a couple ugly sweaters that I've already ordered that'll be coming my way. Obviously, one of them will go to me, a present to myself.
Nice.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
I'll have a grin from ear to ear the moment that comes in. And then, one of my friends, I was like, oh, by the way, like, which of these cryptocurrencies do you like the most, right? Because you can't have the same one as your friend either, right? But yeah, we'll be rolling down, cruising down the street in our, gangster crypto sweaters. The mean streets of San Diego, let me tell you.
Crypto nerds are the new gangsters.
That's right. So for those of you at home who are thinking about getting something cryptocurrency related, hopefully those are some ideas you can think about. I know that the sweaters, I think you can find it. I want to say hodlmoon.com, something like that.
Hodl, man.
Hodl.
Just use the Google machine.
Yeah, you'll find it. Cryptocurrency sweaters. For the last topic of the night, Tay came in with some sort of theories that I don't know if he's come up with or that he's come across on the internet.
Internet, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and...
But it made sense to me right away. Elon Musk may be Satoshi Nakamoto.
Maybe Satoshi Nakamoto. And what is the evidence behind that?
Well, the evidence is just, he's a smart dude. He creates stuff and then bounces. You know what I mean? Like, that's just his MO. He's like, yo,
on to the next thing.
What about this, guys? Ninja smoke, I'm out.
Now we're going to Mars.
He was a part of PayPal.
Exactly. And he did PayPal. And his overall mission.
He's got the money. He's got the money tech.
Yes. So, like, his mission since a child was that he has a master plan. It was to change the way money works.
Right.
To get everybody on electric vehicles.
Go to Mars.
And go to Mars, leave the planet, and form, people on other planets. So
that's what they mean when they say moon.
Possibly. Maybe they meant to say, but moon is just the first step. We gotta go to Mars eventually. So I just think, like, he came up with the Hyperloop. Remember how he just had that idea, like, one weekend, he's like, hell yeah, you could do this, and then boom, and we could be here, and then, yeah, but I ain't got time to do this, so somebody take this.
Here you go. Someone else do it.
Ninja smoke them out.
That's very Satoshi-esque, isn't it? Ah, there you go.
That'd be incredible.
So, I mean, he's going to leave Tesla at some point. Like, he's basically, I think after this semi-truck comes out, he's out and onto SpaceX full time. And then he's trying to leave the planet and live on Mars. Like, he's already said that. So this is what he does.
And after that, he'll be trying to
find... You're thinking, I see your eyes. You're thinking over there, Brett. You're like, yeah, he is Satoshi, right?
Brett loves a good conspiracy theory, let me tell you.
I watch Alex Jones, I think he's...
that guy's a clown. Alex Jones is a clown. But, like, Elon Musk is like the real deal.
Satoshi.
I mean, I watch all the clowns. I mean, because clowns have some information.
They're entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. God.
So there you go. If
Elon Musk is Satoshi.
Yeah. So if it turns out at some point that Elon Musk is Satoshi, just remember you heard it from Tay first.
Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but I mean...
Okay, so I think that's enough for kind of news stories and theories for this week. Since we are coming to the end of the year, I think that maybe within the next few weeks, in the next few episodes of Captain's Council recordings. I think at some point we'll probably have to come up with maybe kind of like a best of 2018. I don't know if you call it an awards show, but kind of a summation or a summary of how the year went. I think we should have some serious, I don't know what you call them, awards or whatever, but accolades. But we should probably have some that are also maybe a little bit more lighthearted. So I already have some ideas. I'm not going to give them away. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up today. And for those of you who are subscribed to the actual podcast feed, this week, hopefully I will have the first actual interview that I've conducted. Should be released a little bit later this week, and that was with Chris Groshong, who is the organizer for the San Diego Bitcoin Meetup, and also the founder and owner of Coinstructive, based in San Diego. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, for those of you who are lucky enough to have already entered into the cryptocurrency space and are seeing Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies at all-time highs, just remember, fair winds and following seas, guys. Set sail.